nearly $90 million, a secret billionaire donor, and a brand new federal investigation crashing into a Supreme Court appeal.
Yeah, welcome to what is honestly an unprecedented legal battle.
Right, so as of May 29, 2026, the story around E. Jean Carroll winning $88.3 million against Donald Trump has taken this massive plot twist.
It really has. I mean, we have a new Department of Justice investigation into the nonprofit that secretly funded Carroll's lawsuit.
And on top of that, Trump has taken his fight to overturn the verdicts all the way to the Supreme Court. So for this deep dive, we are pulling from a fresh stack of sources.
Right. We are looking at court filings, federal statements, and reports from CBS, The Independent, and Vision Times.
Exactly. Our mission is to unpack this collision between civil verdicts, criminal inquiries, and the highest court in the land. And to be clear with you listening, we are just looking at the facts and the mechanics here.
Yeah, both the left and the right have very strong, conflicting claims about all of this. But we do not take sides.
We just report the arguments. So, to understand the current chaos, we actually need to rewind to a videotaped deposition in 2022.
Right. So E. Jean Carroll is sitting down under oath, answering questions from Trump's attorney at the time, Alina Habba.
And Habba asks her a pretty standard question for these proceedings, right? Like, is any outside party paying your legal fees?
Exactly. And Carroll just says no. But that one word set a total time bomb because literally 2 weeks before her civil trial, a huge detail drops.
Wait, what happened?
Her legal team revealed that a Chicago-based nonprofit called American Future Republic had actually provided $7 million to Carroll's law firm.
$7 million.
Yeah. And the head of that nonprofit is Reid Hoffman, the billionaire co-founder of LinkedIn.
Okay, wow.
And, he is a major Democratic donor who publicly stated he would spend whatever it took to stop a Trump presidency.
So Trump's defense team must have immediately jumped on this, right?
Oh, absolutely. They wanted to put that $7 million front and center for the jury.
But the trial judge, Lewis Kaplan, he stepped in and totally barred them from bringing it up.
Right. Judge Kaplan said the funding source just didn't affect Carroll's credibility regarding the actual assault allegations. And when Trump appealed that, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals upheld the judge's ruling.
It did. They ruled that Carroll plausibly represented she simply forgot about the funding because she wasn't personally involved in securing it.
Her law firm handled it.
Okay, I had to push back on this because I think this is where the average person gets lost.
Sure.
It is like a marathon runner crossing the finish line, and then officials find out a corporate sponsor secretly bought their shoes right before the race. I mean, how does someone simply forget about $7 million?
It sounds wild on its face, I know. But it raises these huge questions for everyday citizens about transparency in the legal system. When vast sums of money change hands behind the scenes, how much should the jury know?
Right.
But the appellate court basically looked at the mechanics of modern litigation funding. Clients almost never pay out of pocket for these massive cases. The law firm finds third-party investors.
So the money was functionally invisible to her.
Exactly. But that ruling creates a really strange tension because a secret $7 million transfer might not matter for a civil trial, but it definitely triggers alarm somewhere else.
Which brings us directly to the breaking news about the 2026 Department of Justice probe.
Yeah, and the initial media reports on this were super messy. People were claiming Carroll herself was under criminal investigation for perjury.
Right, because she said no in that deposition.
Right.
But we need to clear that up right now.
Definitely.
Andrew Boutros, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, issued a statement calling those perjury reports categorically false.
Right. The DOJ is not targeting Carroll. They're strictly focused on Reid Hoffman's nonprofit, American Future Republic.
And they are investigating potential money laundering, conspiracy, and obstruction.
Exactly.
But wait, if the appellate court already ruled that the funding didn't impact the civil trial, why is the DOJ stepping in to investigate the nonprofit now?
Well, because civil trial relevance and federal financial crimes are two totally different things. The DOJ doesn't care if the money proves a hoax. They only care if moving that $7 million broke federal tax or financial codes.
Okay. That makes sense.
But naturally, this creates a massive political clash. Reid Hoffman claims his group only got involved after the suit was filed, just to ensure Carroll's voice wasn't squashed by a wealthier opponent.
But critics are looking at this very differently. Advocates for sexual assault survivors are calling the probe disturbing.
Right. They are arguing that the Trump administration is weaponizing the DOJ to exact revenge and silence other accusers.
So while all this is happening with the DOJ, Trump has an active legal strategy playing out at the Supreme Court to overturn the $88.3 million verdicts.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court has delayed this 12 separate times.
12 times. That seems highly unusual.
It is incredibly rare. It tells us the justices are locked in a very deep debate over the rules of evidence.
Specifically, this concept of propensity evidence.
Right. Propensity evidence means using evidence of past bad behavior to suggest a likelihood of current bad behavior.
So it's like a referee penalizing a player in today's championship game, basically just based on a foul they allegedly committed in a totally different league decades ago.
That is a great analogy. And Trump's petition argues the trial judge improperly allowed this kind of evidence.
Because the judge let the jury hear the 2005 Access Hollywood tape, right?
Yes. And testimony from two other women, Jessica Leeds, who alleged misconduct from 44 years ago, and Natasha Stoyanov from 18 years ago.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Don't federal rules 413 and 415 exist specifically to allow this exact kind of evidence in sexual assault cases?
They do. Congress wrote them for that exact purpose. But this is causing what we call a circuit split in the lower courts.
A circuit split.
Yeah, appeals courts disagreeing on how to apply the rules. Because Trump's team argues that Rule 403 has to act as a gatekeeper.
And Rule 403 is the balancing test,
Right, exactly. The judge has to weigh the value of the evidence against the risk of unfair prejudice. Trump's lawyers are arguing that bringing in 44-year-old claims has almost zero value, but massive prejudice. They say the judge illegally bypassed that balancing test.
So they are arguing he guaranteed an unfair trial. But Trump's petition to the Supreme Court goes way beyond just debating the rules of evidence.
Oh, it really does.
I mean, they dive into highly contested factual arguments, like they bring up a TV show.
Yeah, they point out that Carroll's allegations perfectly mirror a 2012 episode of her favorite TV show, Law and Order SVU.
Season 13, episode 11, right? Theater tricks.
That is the one. In the episode, a mogul assaults a victim in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room.
Which is exactly what Carroll alleged happened to her.
Right, and Trump's appeal also heavily highlights the DNA controversy.
Because Carroll publicly claimed she had Trump's DNA on her dress. But Trump refused to provide a sample for years.
Until the very eve of the trial, he finally offered one, but conditionally. So the judge just excluded the DNA topic entirely to prevent trial delays and jury confusion.
So what does this all mean? I mean, does pointing out a TV show plotline actually hold legal weight for Supreme Court justices, or is this just a public relations strategy woven into a legal document?
It is a calculated move. In an appeal, you have to prove that a legal error actually changed the outcome of the trial. Trump's team is using the SVU statistics and the excluded DNA to paint a picture of a hoax.
So they are telling the justices, look at how weak this is.
Exactly. They are saying the only reason a jury awarded $88 million is because they were blinded by the 44-year-old propensity evidence.
And Carroll's team maintains these are just desperate distractions from a definitive jury verdict.
Right. They say Trump had the chance to argue all of this at trial, and he lost.
It is just an unbelievable collision of events. I mean, you have a sitting president appealing near $90 million verdicts over decades-old allegations.
Yeah.
And at the exact same time, federal prosecutors are investigating the billionaire-backed nonprofit that funded the lawsuit in the first place.
It really is wild. And as we leave you today, we want you to consider the broader impact of litigation funding.
Right.
Regardless of where you stand on this specific case, think about what happens when billionaires can secretly pour millions of dollars into lawsuits against their political rivals.
How does that fundamentally alter the balance of power in our justice system?
It is definitely something to think about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, we will keep unpacking the facts, and we hope you keep diving deep.